Hello. Hi to all of my Facebook saints, my YouTube saints, and my Sunday school dropouts. I am so happy to be here with you today. It's Won't He Do It Wednesday, and this is a very special Won't He Do It Wednesday. If this is your first time joining us, typically on Wednesday, well, first of all, if it's your first time joining us, welcome. We are so happy that you are here. Make sure to tell us that you're new and where you're from so that we can show you some love, okay? My name's Brandlin, and I just love having some time with you on Sundays and Wednesdays. And tonight is going to be very, very special, okay? Hello, everyone. Come on in. I'm going to get everything started in just a moment. I just wanted to give everybody an opportunity to jump on. If this is your first time joining us on Wednesdays, normally it's our Won't He Do It Wednesday, where we get together, we have a few laughs, and we also just have a moment to pause and just be grateful and thankful that we've made it halfway through the week and shout out anything special that's going on or anything that we're grateful for. But tonight, we're going to pause that for just a moment because I have something very, very special that we want to share with everyone. One thing I always say is get your shine on, and I mean that. We talk a lot about what that means and how we can all shine, even when we're having a bad day, or how we can shine and be the light for others. And I just wanted to take that a step further and show you all some wonderful examples of people who truly exemplify what it means to get your shine on. And I am so honored that our first Get Your Shine On is going to premiere tonight. I'm going to show that video to you all. I'll be in the chat. So while the video is playing, please feel free to make comments. I'll be right in there with you. And we have, oh God, y'all, I just can't wait to show this to you. We have a person who's so dear to my heart. Her name is Dr. Kim Wingate. She works at the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga with me, and her story is powerful. It's powerful, but sadly, it's not unique. Unfortunately, a lot of people have had to go through things that Kim has had to go through, but nobody's gone through it just like she has. And so I hope if this is something that you are experiencing, whether it's you or someone that you're close to, that you will find Kim's story to be inspirational and encouraging to you. Because when I tell you every day I see her, she truly is an encouragement to me. So I am so excited to share this with you. And just so you know how this is going to work, we're going to show it to you in just a few minutes. I'll just hit play and let the video go. And, I want you to make comments. For tonight, I'm not going to leave this video up long, okay? Because it will live on my website. And so after tonight, next week, we will post it. So if you don't catch it tonight, don't worry about it. You will have an opportunity to see it. We are just going to post it in a different place. It will be on my website, okay? So I'm excited. Grateful that no one has experienced COVID. Come on, Mama. I hear you, Auntie. I'm so glad. Okay. Without further ado, tonight's Won't He Do It is if I'm able to start this video without any glitches. So what I ask of you is that you just bear with me and give me just a moment so that I can get the video started for you guys. But please continue to make comments and I'll be right here in the chat with you, okay? Hello, everybody. Hey, I see your comments coming in. I'm so excited to show this to you. So my grandson was born on Monday. Yay! Congratulations, Chris. We are so happy and excited for you. And if you want to inbox me a picture of your little grandson, feel free. I love it when I get new godsons and goddaughters. So give me just a moment to start the video. And Roro, very good question. I will attempt to come back live after the video to talk about it just a little bit more. But I cannot make any promises because I'm not good at this. But we're going to try, okay? So hang in there. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Hi, my Travis. You guys, Travis is one of my dearest, dearest friends. He knew me when, and he can validate some of these crazy stories I've told you. Okay, without further ado, give me just a moment. I hope you do enjoy and truly are inspired by this story. I present to you, Get Your Shine On. Now, Just a moment and we'll get started. This is the story of a superwoman. Being a mom, wife, and professor, she wears her cape well. But what do you do when life snatches your cape? Get your shine on, won't be long, all the pain will be gone. Laugh it out, cry it out, just don't forget to get your shine on. You are that type of person that is just full of life, full of energy, and about a year and a half ago, that kind of you had to halt a little bit, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it took you a minute. It was a bit of a pause.
Yes.
But before we even get into that, let's talk a little bit about your family. So let's talk about you being a mom. You have, let's see, you have a daughter. No, you have a set of twins, right? And you have a son, correct?
So I have Luke, he's 11, and then I have Livy Kay and Will, they're twins, they're 9. And so but I had children a little later in life, so that was kind of the joke. God kind of helped me catch up. He gave me 3 children in 2 years.
Yeah, there you go, the Trinity,
That's
Father,
right.
Son, and Holy Ghost.
Yeah, so they're wonderful. They keep me very, very, very busy.
Yes.
And then my husband and I both teach.
Got you. Okay, and teaching is your passion,
Yes,
right?
I've been teaching. My mom was a teacher. My mother-in-law was a teacher. My husband's a teacher, and I'm a teacher. So, I mean, I've taught in public school in Catoosa County, and then I decided to go back to graduate school, and then the Lord just opened up a door, and I've been teaching in higher ed for now 16 years.
Now, anybody knows, I say all the time, God bless you. There's no way I could be a teacher. I feel like teachers have a special place in heaven. I think I went on one field trip with my daughter and was like, this is my birth control. No, I couldn't do it. So I admire you. I truly do admire you. So in the midst of doing all of that and being a wife, about a year and a half ago, you received a diagnosis.
I did. So I was, perfectly healthy. I'm a very active person. I do not sit still very much, my husband would say. But unfortunately, I felt something in my right chest in the fall of 18, had a mammogram, and it just came back. They thought it was fine. And so COVID hit, and I still thought something was maybe a little wrong. So finally, in summer of 2020, I asked my doctor if I could. I thought something was still there. He sent me to a specialist, still being very naive, thinking no big deal. And then I went to the doctor that day, and within an hour, she asked me if she needed to do biopsies. So unfortunately, that was a Thursday, and that was very significant because I had to wait till Monday to get results. And so that was a long weekend. Actually, I was coaching softball that weekend. My daughter had a tournament. I was helping coach, and it was hard because I was like, "There's no way I could be sick. There's nothing wrong. I'm fine. I've always been healthy." And then Monday morning, my children and I I was painting the cabinets in my kitchen.
See, not sitting still.
So I was at Sherwin-Williams, and the doctor said, "This is Dr. Walker." So I put the children in the car and stood out in the parking lot. And unfortunately, she told me I was stage 3 breast cancer. That it had, she told me I had breast cancer that morning. And she said, "Well, I'll have to do a lot of tests this week to find out." So I started testing, and then in those 8 days prior to that, my husband and I went through everything. We found out that it had spread, and so that's when I found out I was stage 3. And they quickly moved forward, and then I put my port in and moved forward.
Let's go back to that very moment. Up until that moment, literally, you were on the go, constant. You're
yes.
painting cabinets, you're
Yes.
doing softball tournaments, just constantly on the go. In that very moment, on the phone, standing outside of the car, and you hear the words, "You have cancer." What was your first thought?
This sounds silly, but it almost was surreal. Like, there is I have never been sick. I played college softball. I was a catcher. I'm invincible,
Right.
and then I think too, then there was lots of emotions. My first reaction was, surely this is just not right. And I drove home and called my husband. And then there was the emotions in the next hour of anger, frustration, upset. I was very nervous, very scared. And then I have to remember, that God's in control, but then I'm a doer. Let me get this done. And so then I kind of got into that mode of let me try to hurry and get this done. let me figure out what's the solution to this. But there was just a lot of unknowns there.
Right.
And then figure it out. And we met with the doctor the next day, but even in that 24 hours, there was
hadn't hit
so
you.
much unknown. And because like I said, I literally pulled back in my driveway and there was 4 tables outside with all my cabinet doors on it because I was painting because it was summertime and I was trying to get things done. So it stopped everything. I had to change the way I approached life because all of a sudden I was going to need help.
Right.
And I'm a helper.
Okay, so now let's talk a little bit about that as well. To go from constantly doing and being the person who helps others, now you find yourself in a position where you're having to ask for help. Was that an easy thing for you to do?
Absolutely not. No. My best friend her and her husband wanted to come help me finish the kitchen immediately. Just because my cabinets I don't have a garage, they were in a carport. So they were literally, so they wanted to do that. And I remember that day, it was the next week, I was struggling. And they're my best friends, but I was like, I don't want them to have to do this. I want to do this. I'm even a lot of times do it by myself. My husband will help me, but I don't even want him to help because I like doing it. So it was hard. And I had a lot of mixed feelings. I was so thankful, but at the same time, so angry that I had to have help, and I could have I wasn't, like right then I was still not sick. I hadn't started medication, but it
Everything
was the point
was
that I
surreal.
needed to get finished because I knew I was getting ready to have start chemo quickly. And so, yeah, the having to have help, telling people that.
Right.
And then that I was sick and their first reaction is, what can I do? And I was like, nothing. Nothing.
Nothing. I'm fine.
And I would be very positive. They were like, you're so excited. You seem so positive. And it was just kind of that emotion of, well, I'm sort of processing this.
Right. What was, for you, what do you think was harder to deal with? Asking people for help or the fact that you're going from being a constant doer to you have to stop?
I think it was a combination of both because I had to stop. When they put the port in first. And I was only down for a few hours, but that was even the joke. My husband was in the middle of his early election.
Right.
And when I was coming out, I kept saying, well, we got to get to the polls. We got to get to the polls. So I was coming out of anesthesia saying that, and let's get going, and my husband was like, no. And so having to stop and knowing that I was actually sick, not the one taking care of someone, and then willing to say, okay, I need help.
So, and let's pause just for a moment to talk about that a little bit. Your husband, at that time, in the midst of all of this, your husband was also running for the school board, correct? And so is it fair to say that in the midst of all this, you were trying to find outside things to keep your mind off of it? I mean, if you're coming out of anesthesia and that's the first thing you say is, we got to get to the polls.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. The next day, we went and met with the doctor, and then we got through. My husband was like something, and I said, well, I'm going to go to the poll. And because it was during early election, so we were standing out there. And he was like, no, I'll go. And I was like, no, I need to. So I stood out there for a few hours by myself, holding that sign, and, I was wanting them to vote for him, but then it was that reality of, but then I have breast cancer today.
Right.
Yesterday I was out here waving my sign, and I didn't, or I did, but I didn't know it, and today, and so it was just that, but then I had some friends stop by, and they held signs with me, and then they found out, and so it was kind of like God was working through that to allow me to have some time, and then the kids and Joe came later, and of course was good. That kept my mind off of it, but yeah, we were very busy. He was running for re-election for school board again. Of course, my kids were playing sports at the time, and I was teaching and running a summer program at UTC when I found out, and painting the cabinets. So yeah, so there was a lot going on, but we were very busy.
Again, just listening to you, I'm tired. You are a super mom. You truly are a super mom. But I want to talk about that a little bit too. So when it comes to your relationship with your kids, how have they been able to handle all of this or watch you?
Well, I told someone this. They were old enough to understand, but luckily young enough to be naive.
Right.
Which was awesome. We waited about a week and a half, 2 weeks to tell them, but then people were finding out, and we certainly didn't want them to hear from someone else. But we also wanted to have a plan before we told them. And so when we told them, they were a little bit, there was a shock because we have no one in our family with cancer.
Right.
Well, my father-in-law, we just lost him actually last week to cancer, but they knew he had cancer, but other than that, they didn't really know much about it. And so I knew that was how we approached it, was how they would take it. And so we talked to them. They handled it pretty well. They were pretty positive about it. One of my twins, he finally looked at us after dinner that night and said, "Can you die from this?" And so that was hard. And my quote to him was, "Well, I'm fighting this. I'm gonna fight this." And so they kind of, as long as Joe and I approached it a certain way, and we were pretty positive about it, and we knew our plan, they were pretty positive about it. Now they did. My oldest one could, he saw some signs in October during breast cancer awareness month, and he saw the statistics, and he asked me about the statistics, and I was like, "But mommy's fighting it." And so again, they knew that. They were understanding it. They knew I was sick. They would ask me a lot, especially. I didn't sit still very much, and so when I got sick and when I was going through chemo, I had to sit still. Had to be covered up with a blanket, and they would ask me, "Do you want a blanket, Mom?" Or "Are you okay, Mom?" Or "How do you feel today, Mom?" And so that was hard for me too, because I'm never sitting down, and so that was a little bit of a transition for them. But they did pretty well. There was a few things in January and February that started popping up. That you could tell it bothered them a little more than we had thought. But they are certainly bouncing back now. I think COVID was hard too because they were home with me when I was at my sickest. And so seeing me in that chair and not moving. But I also hope through this process that my children have seen my faith and that knowing that God, I can't do this by myself. My husband can't do it by himself. They can't do it by themselves. And so that's what I told someone, and it makes me almost tear up, is if there's anything that we can learn through this, is that they can see that God is good and that He can help us through anything, And so that was something that I said, if this is something that if they learn through this, then I'll do it. I'll do it another time.
Kim?
Sorry. But, that's what I told them. I said, if they, that's one thing for them. If they can learn through this process, then that's what we need to do, what God teaches us.
And let's talk a little bit about that as well. In the midst of all of this, to you, and if you don't mind sharing, what was your lowest moment?
Sometimes I was just trying to think. I mean, I'm a mover, and my mom or my husband wanted to drive me to chemo, and I was like, no, I want to drive myself. I'm good there. But I'd say some of the lowest was sometimes when I would leave, and I was on a Wednesday. Wednesdays were my days, and the nurses were amazing, and everybody was so amazing. My doctors, and I was fine on Wednesdays. It was kind of weird, but by Thursday nights, I could tell it was hitting me. And those were my lowest because I was getting ready to go into the weekend and I didn't want to be sick. My kids were getting ready to be off. We had basketball. And so that was kind of hard. And when I remember having to miss one Saturday, and you saw me at the ball field.
Yes.
And I never hardly missed, but I had to miss one Saturday. And I remember sitting there by myself in the house. And that was pretty hard because this cancer had taken me away from what I love, and it was seeing my kids play basketball, and we laugh. My daughter, she was a mess on the basketball course. She was a mess because she's just a little terror. She was hilarious, and so missing her, and missing the boys, and they played together and they loved it. And my husband was FaceTiming, so I could watch. But yeah, that was probably one of the lowest days. It's just because it took me away from them.
Would it be safe to say you were mad at God?
A little bit, yes. I remember thinking, oh, their parents are their friends' parents are there, and I want to be there, and I didn't marry till later in life. I didn't have children till later in life, and I want to do everything with them. And I always tell them we're always together. And so that was kind of hard. I was a little angry and had to say, why are you making me be here by myself? And then I remember, in Isaiah 46:10 tells us, be still and listen. And so I was thinking, okay, maybe I got a little tickled then because I was like, maybe I didn't listen to him. Like maybe he wanted me to be still a little bit more than I was because I'm not good at being still. So I learned then through that process, that Saturday and a few moving forward, I had to learn to say, okay, I have to be still. I have to listen to him. Yes, I want to be with my kids, and that's important but it's more important to be with him.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I had to kind of remember.
Oh, and that I'm so glad you brought up that scripture because to me, that's when you shine. You're brightest as a person who's constantly on the go, constantly moving, constantly doing. For you to recognize and know, okay, God, I can be still and know who you are. That's when you shine. That's when you shine. Okay, y'all got to give me a minute. Kim done messed me up. Right now, what do you feel is the biggest lesson that you've taken from this whole experience?
Appreciation. Appreciation of each day, the little things. My oldest son went with me to Costco the other day because we had to get some things, and I laughed. He would not probably normally go, or I would go by myself because I could get it done faster, or I would go, let me just do it and get back. And he went with me, and it was so fun. We even dropped all the cookies in the middle of the parking lot, and I used to would have probably gotten upset about that or whatever, but we both laughed, and it was just fun to have him help me and hear him talk about different things. So it's those little things that I believe I appreciate more. My family, just taking in each day, you know, and things like that. Or I mow grass. I have 12 yards that I mow part-time sometimes, and so
Wait a minute.
well, this was just something I do part-time.
Oh, just one more thing to do. We just mow grass too.
But you know, now that I talk, a lot of some of my customers, you know, it's like to get to talk to them, you know, and I didn't. I was in a hurry, mow this yard, move on, and now it's like, well, can we talk? You know, if they want to talk to me, or there's a few elderly people I mow for, and so just having that moment to appreciate being with them, or being with my family, or being with someone, or even like this morning getting to talk to you, appreciate what is it God that puts in front of me that I need to not just move past.
From cabinets to cookies. I think that's what we're going to call this. You know, at that very moment when you were dealing with those cabinets, it's like your world stopped. And now cookies are all over the parking lot and you're okay. So from cabinets to cookies. How are you now?
I'm in remission.
Okay.
So
wonderful.
Yes,
Won't he do it?
yes.
Won't he do it?
Yeah, so I went through the chemo and the surgery and the radiation. I have a few more surgeries to go, but we're in prevention, and so that's exciting. And so, you know, one thing about breast cancer is, I told someone a while back, you have to find your inner beauty. Between chemo and surgery and radiation, it takes what most, I would say, in our physical world, women look upon our hair and our looks.
Yes.
And so I've had to really look at my inner beauty. And my daughter told me one day, I said something about, please don't look. And she said, Mom, you're beautiful. And so, you know, she really showed me that. And so that's important because I usually have long hair and it's not usually great. And so I've laughed a little bit about that. But yeah, I think that's the thing now is I'm in remission. I'm excited about life. I'm excited what is in front of us, what I can do, you know, and what I can do. Can I help someone through this process? Can I help someone through something else? Or is it that I'm just supposed to be still?
I know that you struggle to ask for help, but were you surprised or shocked to see how many people were willing to help you without you even asking?
Oh, absolutely. I was very fortunate. We kind of joke in my house. I'm not a very good cook. Matter of fact, I'm a pretty bad cook.
Oh, bless your heart.
That's not my strength. And so I laugh because when I became sick, I remember pulling in my driveway in August, and I would just come home from one of my visits, my daughter's visits. I hadn't even started chemo yet, and there was someone pulling in with food. And so we laugh in our house that we had food from August to March. I mean, literally every week, sometimes twice a week. My community, my UTC, my administrators, my bosses, my colleagues, everyone across the campus were volunteering to bring me food, cakes, whatever we needed. We had gift cards that were given to us to support us through that. And so I was never asking for help, but it was just, and then I think it was such a blessing too, because a lot of those people came to my house, even people that I worked with at UTC that found out where I lived and brought me things that was just a blessing to see them and to get to experience it. I mean, and like I said, Dr. Merlin and the Dean Rutledge were amazing to support me and my colleagues through all of this. And so just to see them, their encouragement, how much they embraced me, my kids' community, school community, was just so, I mean, our church family, everybody just embraced us, and their help was so wonderful.
Through all of this, how has your relationship changed with your husband?
It's been hard. You know, my husband and I, we did not marry till later in life, so we were both pretty independent people. He would say I'm very independent. I mean, like I said, Joe's always supported me. Like, even the joke is, you know, I've always wanted to be a teacher. He always supports me in that. All the programs I run at UTC, even my lawn business, he's right there with me. So he's always supported me in that. I will say that through this, it's been a little bit difficult because we are both so independent. So figuring out how to support each other or support me, and him being busy, because he's been very busy too this year with, you know, teaching and graduate school and coaching and everything. But definitely we are growing through this process. I mean, he's been right there with me. And so I'm just very thankful for him. And luckily his sense of humor, and he kind of keeps me going on that kind of to that aspect, because you have to keep a sense of humor or you'll never make it through it.
Yes.
So,
I understand. Nobody ever wants to get this diagnosis. Nobody ever wants to experience this. But to hear you talk, you keep mentioning all the blessings that you've received through this. I mean, about how you've seen your children. They've become even closer, and you've had a chance to really see them mature through this. The fact that you didn't realize that so many people would be right there to have your back as someone who does not accept help. To know despite that, they're still there. And your relationship with God. I'm amazed at that. Is there any other blessings? And I know that's crazy to say because it's a storm. It's a life storm. But are there any other blessings that you see in the midst of this, or that you've received through this?
Yes, I think for me, some of the blessings that I would say that I've received is just appreciation. I mean, I said appreciation earlier, but it's just that I stop and look at each day, you know, and just that blessing of quit hurrying, quit talking so fast. I talk really fast. And so am I close enough to God that I need to be? Absolutely not. I still have so much to learn, but I know that He's there. You know, I always say I listen or I read, but I don't always really dive in. But when I was sick and laying in those tests or doing chemo, and it was just such a blessing to meet those nurses and those doctors and see what they do. I've also realized I am right in the right profession of teaching. I love teaching. I love working with our teachers and our students throughout the community. And so I think that's a blessing, is seeing where I'm supposed to be, where God's put me, appreciation for what other people do in the world.
Right.
And so I think that's something that's helped me.
Just overall thankfulness and gratitude, just to appreciate those things around you. Well, trust me, you're talking to another Sunday school dropout, so I struggle with the Bible too. And I think that's really big, that people need to understand. You don't have to be this Bible scholar. You just got to know He's there and just be willing to receive.
Well, and He showed me a verse one time that, and I always say, you know, you hear people say that, but I had never really experienced that. But 2 Corinthians 12:9, it was talking about if I can, in His grace is sufficient, and that when I'm weak, He is strong. And that is something I'm not real good at doing. And so I've had to really remember that verse. And then of course Philippians 4:6 and 7 is always, because I've always been a very anxious go person, and so I think that's been exciting for me to see those, and how that I've actually processed that.
Gotcha. I think it's so important that people understand it's not about knowing every scripture in the Bible. And just like you said, it's a matter of just knowing that He's there and starting that relationship, just taking the first step. That is so important. Well, Kim, thank you so much for being with me today. I truly do appreciate you taking time out to sit down and talk with us.
Oh, thank you so much for letting me share. Like I said, I'm sorry I cried a little bit.
It's okay.
But, you know, it's an emotional journey, but I'm so glad that I've gotten to experience this journey, and I never thought I would say that. Do I want to do it again? Absolutely not. But thank you for letting me come today and share with you.
Thank you. And thank you so much for joining us. Just keep in mind, always be still and know. And when you do that, you are truly getting your shine on.
Wife, and professor. Oh, there we go. Thank you guys so much. Oh, that was so nerve-wracking and scary, but I'm glad I did it. I hope that it was inspirational and encouraging for you all. There are so many more Get Your Shine On stories, and I can't wait to share them with you. Let's see here. Cheryl says, very proud of you. This is going to be awesome and a blessing to so many. Thank you. And I hope that is my prayer, is that, you know, sometimes, I mean, we talk about this all the time. Get your shine on, get your shine on. But to actually see it, as someone else and someone else's, how they choose to shine, it can just be an inspiration to you. And so thank you so much. We have, trust me, we have currently filmed 5. So those will be out there. But there's something else in the works that takes it to a whole nother level. And I can't wait to get that together and share it with you. But don't forget, I will leave this up for just a little while, but I'll take it down and it will live on the website. I also want to take a moment to thank my family. I don't want to tell you exactly where we filmed, but just know my family is awesome. I love my sisters, my mom, everybody. This was a family affair. I also want to thank Aaron of Noria Productions. He did all of the filming and editing for me. And so, this is the first of many, but please feel free to inbox me and leave your comments. I apologize for the sound, work in progress, but I promise you we will definitely get that taken care of. But any messages you have for Kim, please inbox me and share them. I will make sure that she sees them. I'm so proud of her. You guys don't understand. Kim doesn't stop. How do you have a set of twins, another child? She has 3. And then you're a teacher. And she's not just a teacher. She's not just a professor. She sits on every board. She runs every program. And then in the midst of that, I saw this woman on the softball field. Do you understand what I'm saying? Not just sitting with me eating a pickle and nachos. She was coaching as she was going through the chemotherapy. And now I find out you have a lawn care business too? Listen. Kim is doing well. She's currently in remission. I see that somebody said that. Let's see here. Sue says, girl, your wardrobe was A+. Thank you. My sisters. One sister dressed me. The other sister, I have fairy glam mothers. My sisters do all of that for me, and I am so grateful and thankful for them. And I'm thankful and grateful for each one of you all. This has been a wonderful evening. Thank you so much, and I promise you there is so much more to come. But my throat is giving out on me again. So I'm going to leave it here for tonight. Please, if you don't remember anything else, get your shine on, and I promise you, you get your shine on. Just get your shine on. I will see you on Sunday. Tomorrow's my birthday, so I probably will go live. I'm sure something crazy will happen. But for tonight, get your shine on and have a wonderful, blessed evening.